I think the first thing that pops into my mind is how do we blend our relationships into putting God first, and how do we take our partners into consideration so that we can truly become one? And I think that when we do become one, is I feel that then when you go to work and there's no if there's something like that you're disagreeing with or whatever, if I know from my experiences, I can't begin on Monday if me and Cindy are not on the same page, or maybe she might not feel that I'm taking her into consideration. And a lot of times I don't do it on purpose. It's just about communication, right? So how do we communicate so that she knows that I'm taking her into consideration, that we can begin our week in a positive vibe?
Like it's gonna be the one the
Do you have it, Cindy? Do you have a physical copy of the resolution for women?
the resolution. Yes,
Listen,
I
in
have
Spanish.
it in Spanish.
I went to Mardell's and they didn't have it, but they had uh the men one and they had
Okay,
for it.
cool.
So I think I bought both because I think it's easier for him to really broken down. It's a lot. I feel like y'all's is more difficult. I think y'all's is more intense. That's just kind of my
Really?
I feel like
Yeah,
ours
okay.
is not as
That's hard.
as in I feel it's just like super intense. Like there's a lot of very heavy topics. I guess that whenever he was reading it, the audio part of it, and then I was actually reading it, I was like, "Oh, that's pretty heavy." I don't know.
Well,
Just
heavy
my
is good.
yeah, I mean, yeah, but it's kinda you have to break it down, right?
Yeah.
Well, for me, it's kind of like reading again, like again from zero, from because I kind of like used to read it like 14 years ago. Ah, it's been a while. So
Wow.
it's kind of like restart again. I'm coming from zero.
I'm
You
not. I
you
read
read
the book. I read the book, and then I also read another one that talks about how God made woman differently. And it's a hard book, obviously, I think when you're talking about those topics, but I think one of the things that I need to kind of like learn in regards to what the book say is be able to listen to her wisdom too, and her to like her say. So that's why I like this, so that I can give her her space for her to be able to speak her mind out without judgment, and then also have another woman that can show like some some common sense into our relationship so that we can grow better and grow.
I think that was, like, definitely what the books mentioned, a group that you can study with, and, like, you'll catch things that you didn't catch when you were reading them, right? And so I think that is very important for sure, and I guess one of the biggest things for me is the podcast actually happening. As you guys know, I went into a completely different transition into my life right now where I'm becoming someone that I never thought I would be, a stay-at-home mom. It's like it comes out of my mouth and I'm like I feel like I'm gonna throw up.
Why? That's the hardest.
It's,
That's the hardest job
Hard, it's
ever.
definitely hard. Especially if you
Yes,
never
it's
thought
going
you would
going
be
through
that. Like
it.
and you don't
I
get paid. Cindy's like, you don't even I don't even get paid. At least you get paid.
yeah, exactly. And so I going from this like career-minded mindset to giving up your career um and saying I feel like God is leading me in this direction and really finding promises in that and finding stability in that and finding satisfaction in that is very difficult to navigate. And, dying to yourself, right? It's literally dying to yourself. You're like, I am this way. And then it's like you told yourself all these lies all your life. And then you're like, no, that was something you chose to be. You don't have to be that way. And so kind of denying yourself these things you always told yourself. And I had told Ruben since we started Jumps Intense, probably like 3 years into starting Jumps Intense, hey, we should do a podcast. And at that time, we thought we were actually pretty successful in business ownership. We would love to share our journey and talk about what we learned. And there was that term that I cringe a little bit now that I say it, but it's the power couples, you know?
Yeah, I
Oh,
remember
yeah.
that. We remember
It's
that.
so funny. We wanted to do the podcast again since forever, right? Like pandemic opened up the brand new remote thing, and then we never did it. So
Yeah, and so that's what
that's
Miguel was
really
telling me, and so
Mhm.
I felt just really, like, connected with, like I still see the pictures of our first dates and how similar they were, and how similar our stories were as far as how we met, how, we're both believers, and how the transitions that we were going through with you guys having health problems and us trying to be supportive. And I think that you were so quick to just pick up the, I guess, mentorship and stability and friendship that Ruben truly needed in the time that we're transitioning, and encouraged him to, and I don't want to speak for him, but that
Speak
accountability
of it.
that, and you're like, we're going to read this book. And then when you're like, "There's a woman one," and I was like, "Really?" And so I wanna be a part of it, and, um, mind just started going a million miles an hour, and so now it's kind of become my, like, stay-at-home mom project.
Oh, I mean, think stay mom homes. I don't consider myself a stay mom home because I always been on projects like real estate and management, property management. Like it's you manage your own time and you can doing whatever projects as big as little as and then managing three different worlds and lives. So I hear you like stay mom home
Yeah,
with the
yeah,
little green in the
yeah.
air. Let's do an exercise. In Tony Robbins, they were saying like and this exercise is for Ruben maybe and do the exercise of like I love numbers and numbers loves me and then you tap yourself too.
Come on, Ruben.
So let's do it. Like I
I
love
love numbers.
numbers and
Numbers
numbers
love
loves
me.
me. It's so simple, like for real.
Oh my
Something so
god.
simple.
That
Oh yeah. So I want to try. I love
I
numbers, and
love
numbers love me.
numbers loves me.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay. I love homestay mom and
You like
homestay mom
this
loves me.
home mom, and what would the other one be?
There you go.
And
Homestay mom loves me.
biggest stay-at-home mom loves me.
Mom
Yeah,
loves
that
me.
that was hard.
All of these ideas that we have that for example I don't I'm not enough, right? And
Right.
if you do it like if you put your finger on your nose you're gonna feel that you're so ridiculous, like
No,
it's
no,
ridiculous idea, right?
no, let her know.
Stop.
Let her know. Let her know. It sounds ridiculous, right?
You look ridiculous, you feel ridiculous, that is ridiculous, right? So that can be a little piece of exercise that we
And
can do today.
it's crazy, because like I was talking to Ruben one day. I finished, and then I got that call. One of the biggest clients we've had in a while, And I remember him telling me, he's like, "I have a bad memory." Because I asked him about a transaction. He's like, "I have such a bad memory." And I was like, "No, you don't. You have a great memory." So anyway, so we were going through transactions. I was like, "So what were we just talking about?" And then he's like, "Oh, that, yeah." I was like, "You see, you have a good memory." And then he was just started cracking up. And I was like, "You see? It's all in your mind. You have a great memory."
Yeah.
Detecting the patterns
The patterns.
that we speak to ourselves in such a way that we don't realize that that thing is gonna be against us, right? So it's like how we can keep training. Eventually, the training is like what you're doing with your client. Like, no, no, no. Actually, you have a really good mind. Actually, you're super good with the numbers. Actually, you're super good at being, being a homestead mom and controlling something, more important, which is our kids and our family and being like what the book says, like women, we are designed to keep up with the details, right?
And to piggyback on that also is, you know, the way that we talk to each other. Sometimes I'm like, I'm this or that. And then Cindy's very good at like, no, you're not. You're this. You're better and you're a father. That's something that I know I have to work on because I'm more vulnerable towards putting myself down. And she's not. So when she's feeling down, I want to make sure that I can be that for her. And I know for a fact that I am not. So being more conscious. Like today, I think I was more, what do you think? Like I was trying to be very intentional with our
Hmm.
throughout the day.
Yes, that's the homework. Be intentional.
She was like, be intentional. I didn't know what that meant. I don't know, like hugging her from like behind, but like, in a nice way, and like kissing her, like
Open the door.
opening the door, at the rest, when we went to eat, and then giving her a hug, and then I gave her a hug and a kiss, and then both boys just they went and they just attacked her with hugs and kisses. I didn't tell the boys to do that, but they just saw me doing it, and then the boys went in and attacked her, and I could see the joy in her face when she was being attacked with hugs and kisses, and just being intentional and me not understanding that as of just a few years ago, guys. You know what I mean? Like it's hard. And then like that book says, right? Because I read that book. Like sometimes you forget because it's easy to forget and easy to go back to like old habits. Like, oh, honestly, just taking her for granted. Like, she's not going anywhere. She's here. I'm not going anywhere. I'm here. It's not that. Like our day, every single day should be very intentional in regards to like how can we make our spouses feel secure, feel loved, feel like we're not going anywhere, feel like we got their backs. And also if we do mess up, being able to, I guess, hold ourselves accountable, saying, you know what, I did mess up. I'm sorry. And just kind of carry through. And like I'd rather say 100 excuses before I say I'm sorry. And that's something that I want to look back at this podcast, be like, oh, you know what? I've gotten much better at that.
Yeah, it's been a daily work.
Yeah, for sure.
How about you, Ruben? What do you think?
Yeah, for sure. I think the same thing. Like, it's sometimes it's very difficult because I'm still discovering a lot of things by myself. I grew up a lot different than I used. So sometimes I don't sharing and being vulnerable becomes um where it used to be my little hiding space I feel comfortable at. And to expose that, it's like it's different. And so now we're like with Anna and everything, like I think our biggest problem is communication. So like when I feel vulnerable, when I'm asking her and when I hear these other things, like, now it's your responsible for doing these things. And I feel like sometimes when I hear those words, I feel like it's all on you. That's your decision. If you screw it up, well, then, oh, well, we'll figure it out later on, which is kind of a little scary at the same time because it's not just my responsibility, it's our responsibility. But I feel like I'm not just going to let her fail at whatever she does. It's just like I'm not going to tell her, you're a stay home mom. I'm not going to do no dishes because you're going to stay home all day. Like we're a team and we should still be able to help each other out because whatever affects, you know, her affects the whole family, not just one person. And so for us to succeed, I think we need to have that support. And when you don't have that support, I think it really hurts. It hurts the family and the whole family. And sometimes we think we're doing it as a good, but I think it's sometimes like we have to, I feel like this point of my life, it's like the training wheels are coming off and I know how to expose myself to uncomfortable situations and, and it's a learning experience. But at the same time, we're doing this not just because I'm doing it by myself. She's not doing it by herself. We should have the mindset of like, we're doing it together. And And at that point, we could give that glory to God. We could be like, hey, you know, I didn't just tell this person to say, you handle it on your own. I didn't tell her, hey, you got the mom duties. You're going to do it by yourself. We did it together with God's help and with fellowship and communication and reaching out to people who would actually impact our lives and help us. It's just like I told one of the guys that went up for prayer today, and I'm like, I was thankful for you guys, and I was like, it's God timing is perfect, but I mean, I don't think there's just coincidence. It's just that's the way God put certain people in your life for certain seasons of your life to uplift you and help each other. And you never know, like this might be able to help you guys and just as much as it helps us.
That's
Totally.
yeah. I
Totally.
told you like that's the best my best testimony for this week when I helped you out. I got that call right after, and that was God saying like, "Don't worry about you. Just do whatever you need to do, and then I'll take care of you." So I want to be able to give you some comfort words with Cindy because I know that where you are is where I am, even constantly, right? Where
I have to.
she's like, it's like Cindy says, your responsibility is on you, like on the family, right? Me, the kids. I wanted Cindy to give her opinion in regards to that so that it doesn't seem so harsh that it's when the women tell us it's on you. I don't think what I'm saying for Cindy. I know that I can speak for her. She can speak for herself right now. In regards to like when you tell me that I'm responsible for everything, and I'm like, that's kind of like a hard pill to swallow. But in reality, that's not reality because you always have my back too. So is it something like
Is the order that God designs, and God likes order in our families, and His design is just perfect. Because if we become, the head, it's just like upside down. So if you guys are submitting under God and you guys are going to do the willing of God, then you guys are the head of the family, leading the family, making the decisions, obviously taking us in consideration, right? Because we are the neck. So we are the neck. We support you, and we gonna like also direct you with the blind spots that you guys have. I see it that way, and I comprehend that. So yeah, at the end of the day, if you guys do a decision that, for example, in this case, some of the decisions is like, well, I don't agree, but if you want to go and go ahead, and I don't agree, well, that's kind of like on you, and that's why
Yeah,
you're
and
responsible of
I think
of that.
it was definitely hard for us because I'm transitioning from being basically in his position where I'm the last person that makes the decision at the business. I was the general manager over everything. He was the warehouse manager and would communicate to the general manager what they were doing so I could oversee what was happening. And it was one of those things that I removed myself and now I'm co-owner with him where I can give him advice, but really the advice that I should give is more of being a soundboard for him, not telling him what to do. And that's never really been our decision because I am a highly opinionated person. And I think that I make good decisions and that like, he kind of piggybacked on that. So it was so easy to just do what I would tell him. Right. So removing that completely and being, well, what if I mess up or I'm not good in this position and I want to give up? And I, being his soundboard, say, that is going to happen. There is going to be a day that you don't want to do it anymore and you want to give up and you have a decision to make. So what are you going to do?
Okay.
Thinking, right? Because like when you want to give up, you're now basing your decision on emotion. And that was kind of what I was trying to express to him, that there's going to be a time where we're going to want to make our decision on emotion instead of really looking at everything and saying this too shall pass and being in that learning curve, that frustration of not knowing to knowing. And I needed to give him the knowledge to make that decision. So I said, okay, if you decide to sell the business, what does that look like? What is the amount of revenue that you need to come up with when you go find a job? And if I still stay at home, this is how much we make on salary. And I was like, this is the number that you need for a job to sustain the current life situation you have. And he was like, I don't care about numbers. I hate numbers.
I love numbers and
This is
number loves me.
man.
I love numbers.
No,
Numbers
What's
love
up?
me.
That's why I told her, like, you know what, for the first season, it would go down, right? If she's gonna leave it up to me, I'm probably gonna make some mistakes. She don't know. Like, talk to a few people about selling the jumps and tents, if that's an option, what they could do. And some people for 40% stake or this and that. Or the thing is she had told me, if you're gonna do it, don't just talk, do it. Be the man of the word of what you say. And so, like, I'm gonna look into it to see what kind of my options there is. So, like, I suck what I'm doing, right? I suck at the managing of that part of the business. She was no part of it. What I'm gonna do? Like she said, if it goes down, she got the real estate to fall back on, which it kind of like makes me feel insecure. But I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna give it my best. What can I do? And like I could try my best to make it work. And that's the only thing I have control of. Um, and then I have another guy that wants to be um he wants to be the manager of it. So like and so he wants to be a guy that's been doing it for a long time in our industry for like 27 years. Those are still discussions like, where do I go and how does it affect us as a whole?
and I think like that was one of the things that I was trying to express to him was I created the organization chart with like these are my responsibilities, these are your responsibilities, kind of like you said, there needs to be order and making sure that it doesn't become controlling, which was my issue. I loved order so much that I tried to control everything. And I cannot become that person again. And seeing things go up in flames, immediately my knee jerk reaction is, I'm going to go in there and fix it. But I've had to make that decision to say, I'm not going to go in there and fix it. I'm going to allow God to continue to put me in the place He has me. And from there, move forward. So I kind of did an exaggeration of if you get really sick and you end up in the hospital, you're not going to see me going back into that position. Whether that meant hiring or selling the company or finding better systems, that's totally different than going back to that position. And so it's always about communication because I can express to him what I'm expressing to you guys, and I think you guys would understand. But what he's hearing is, you're going to let me basically run this
Right.
company down by myself. And you're going to be watching from up above. Hey, see you later,
I don't think that's what's gonna happen. Yeah.
That's not what I'm saying.